You're trash like this. Within 5 years, you're definitely going to go to jail. Jaylen Brown's high school teacher yelled at him. At this moment, he was dumbfounded. He only used one class period to study physics. His high school teacher was greatly upset. He swore he would stand out. But at the training camp, the coach knocked him down again. What was going on? Unlike many African American families, Jaylen Brown was born into an extremely privileged family. His father, a seasoned Marine Special Forces soldier. So, from when Jaylen Brown could remember, his father arranged rigorous and regular schedules for him. And during his service, his father developed a pair of iron fists, winning the World Boxing Federation Championship for 2 years. Of course, there's more. His mother is a highly intelligent intellectual. She has earned her doctorate from the University of Michigan through her own efforts. It was being in such a family that made Jaylen Brown stand out from an early age. He has the ability to think independently, and doesn't just stick to the content in textbooks. That's why the scene at the beginning took place after going to high school, because he often skipped class to do other research. His high school teacher thought he was not serious. Finally, he couldn't stand it. He began to scold him. This situation dealt a big blow to Jaylen Brown, but his mental resilience is extremely strong. He turned this insult into motivation to study hard. After making a name for himself in basketball, Jaylen Brown successfully made it to the U18 national team. But the national team coach Donovan made a comment, which struck Jaylen Brown once again. "You lazy bone. Even if you get into the NBA, you'll be out in 3 years." It was because of this sentence Brown started endless training. And as we all saw, before entering the NBA, Brown won countless honors. He made Donovan's face go pop. But compared to playing basketball, Jaylen Brown has more important things to do. Academic research. So in college selection, he didn't join those famous basketball schools. He chose the University of California, Berkeley, a school that has higher academic achievements. However, because of his exceptionally high basketball talent, Jaylen Brown successfully attracted the attention of NBA scouts. An old man in a green t-shirt paid special attention to him. But in this year's draft, there were a few players better than Jaylen Brown. One was called Ben Simmons, and the other was called Ingram. Where would he go? This is a small discord among the Celtics. Smart shouted at Jaylen Brown, "We're all willing to cooperate with you, but at least you gotta let us know what you need." Jaylen Brown didn't respond, followed by 5 minutes of silence. Smart couldn't stand it anymore. "You gotta say something." Looking at Jaylen Brown again, he just slightly nodded his head indicating he understood. It was this discord. Jaylen Brown grew rapidly. What happened? In the NBA 2016 draft, Ben Simmons was already chosen as the top pick, and Ingram was easily picked by the Lakers. Just when everyone thought the Celtics would choose Dunn as the third pick, they surprisingly chose Jaylen Brown. Danny Ainge believed Jaylen Brown would become a great player in the future, so he chose Brown without considering other people's opposition. But at that time in the Celtics, Isaiah Thomas took most of the ball rights, so Jaylen Brown barely had any playing time. His stats didn't increase much either. So during the offseason, he shaved his head. Isaiah Thomas even made fun of him. But his goal was not to make his teammates laugh. In the new season, his stats suddenly improved massively. But the good times didn't last. Just when he was going to take off, a sudden injury put him back on the benches. It was a match against the Mavericks, where Brown fell heavily to the ground. His back was seriously hurt. And then the coach put Smart in the starting lineup, and it achieved great results. So after Brown recovered, he was back on the bench again. Plus, the team just picked another promising rookie, Tatum. Brown felt lost for a while. He was doubting himself for a period, to the point where his performance was eye-rattling. Even his teammates couldn't bear it. After a loss, Smart yelled at Brown, "We can cooperate with you, but you need to tell us what you want." Maybe Smart's yelling made Brown see himself clearly. Or maybe it's because the team traded Isaiah Thomas. Brown gradually regained his status. But with the arrival of another player, Brown seems to have new thoughts. Kyrie Irving seems to have quite an opinion about the team roster, and recommended a starting lineup to the coach. But in this lineup, there's no Jaylen Brown. Some netizens speculate he has conflicts with Brown, but the two never discussed this matter in front of the media. The only problem the Celtics had was the biggest factor bothering them. Although they made to the Eastern Conference Finals that year, Brown's performance was still not so eye-catching. Everyone realized the team didn't really consider him as a core to develop. Tatum was their target. Even if he's not the best in history, he's one of the best in history in my eyes. Jaylen Brown told the media with a smile, when LeBron mentioned in the All-Star draft that he is one of the most underestimated players. Jaylen Brown also agrees with this. Even though most people think Tatum is the core of the Celtics' future, but Jaylen Brown never argued. He only proved it with his actions. He deserves a major contract and worth. Let's go back to the year 2022. The Celtics fought all the way, finally standing on the NBA Finals stage after many years. And everyone believed they could win the championship. Who would have thought? The regular season all-star Tatum slumped on the biggest stage. On the contrary, Jaylen Brown put on an outstanding performance. In all aspects, he was much better than Tatum. After losing to the Golden State Warriors, Tatum was hugely criticized. But there were always people thinking, even though Tatum performed so badly, he's still the go-to guy on the Celtics. And Jaylen Brown was just the second option. Such remarks. Jaylen Brown was undoubtedly the most hurt, but he didn't argue about it. During the 2023 All-Star Draft, LeBron James stood up for Jaylen Brown. When he read out his name in the selection, he deliberately added an adjective, underestimated. Next, I'm going to choose Jaylen, the underestimated Brown. Reacting to LeBron's statement, Jaylen Brown also gave his own response. Even if he's not the greatest in history, he is one of the greatest in my eyes. This indirectly reflects how much Brown cares about the core position in the Celtics. But all of this doesn't matter anymore. The current Celtics have made it to the NBA Finals. If they can win the championship, maybe everything will be okay. As long as the situation in 2022 doesn't repeat, then these few players are bound to be written into history.